And the synchronicity there is, I was with the team sky watching at Takalak Lake, which is at the base of the mountain. I don't know, maybe 10 miles away from you folks at the top there. And we heard at that very time that that evening, actually, while we were sky watching, we heard this large rumble coming towards us as if it was almost like thunder. But we didn't see any flashes of lightning, and the actual sound lasted quite a while. And we are positing at this point that what we heard that night while we were sky watching is exactly what happened up there on the mountain when you guys came down the next day and saw this giant rock fall on the snowfields down there. That must have been the same thing. Is that right? Is that right, Lee?
Yeah,
you can jump in, buddy.
Yes, I believe so. I think it might have been the same thing, but it wasn't that big of a rock fall. It was maybe 10 yards of material or so that had slid onto the snowpack there.
Okay.
So it wasn't a lot. But, the origination, it could have been on the other side, the origination, the rumble that you heard.
Got it. I see. Maybe there was more than one slide then. You never know.
Right. And we didn't feel anything up there, and we didn't hear it.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. Even though you saw it in the morning, and it looked like it was pretty fresh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I remember that, I think it was one of you or both of you mentioned that there was some kind of a daylight sighting of an actual craft, UFO.
Yes, the night that we went to Michael Beers, I had set up early in view of Mount Adams, and it was about 7:30 when I set up. I just figured I'd get there, get my stuff up, I have a job to do, so let's get the cameras rolling. And I did catch something must have been about 8:15 as dusk was coming in. Yes, I saw a craft come in, and it was flashing irregularly. What I do is to find out if it's like a piece of space junk that's spinning, catching the light. You know what I mean? It'll flash every couple of seconds, but it'll be regular. So I always count between flashes to make sure whether or not it's a piece of space junk or Iridium satellite. And this thing was flashing, just any old time. Like it didn't matter. There wasn't randomly. So yeah, it was interesting, that's for sure. But I did catch that on film as the second piece of UFO footage that I caught over the 5 days. Yes.
Okay. Well, listen, Philip, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but I did remember you said that when you met with Michael Beers, the head of the Sasquatch expedition, at the same time you guys were at the top of the mountain, was there anything unique that you can relate to us about what happened when you guys met after you came down from the mountain?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I believe it was Monday night. Here, I'm going to ask Tim real quick to make sure I got this straight. Before that talk,
okay. All right, Philip. Just go ahead. Don't worry about the date, but just tell us what you remember.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get everything straight. So, we the same night, Michael and Tanya both saw what appeared to be something like a shooting star that struck across the sky between a satellite and a aircraft. The only part about this, though, is it was not a shooting star. It was going way too slow to be a shooting star, but way too fast to be a plane or anything else like that. It was
okay. Philip, I don't know if you can hear me, buddy, but it looks like you're cutting out repeatedly on your end there. So what we're going to do is probably just end our conversation with you tonight right now. And thank you for coming on. And we'll continue on with Lee Strauss and maybe bring in some more UFO I Team members. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's what we'll do.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the opportunity to come on and work with you guys. So looking for that stuff too.
Okay, buddy.
Thank
Thank you again. Yeah. Have a great night. Okay. Well, that's fascinating. When you guys then, I think you can help recount, Lee, what happened,
Yes.
When you came down the mountain and you actually met with the Michael Beers party up
Yes.
there. Maybe you can relate to us, basically what happened at that point and kind of get it up to speed what happened on that next day.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll tell you what Michael Beers told us. He said, hey, did you guys see that UFO above where you guys were camping? We were using lasers to shine back and forth at each other, so we knew exactly where we were on the mountain, and we knew exactly where Michael's team was down on the ground. He says, hey, did you see that UFO that went over the top of you guys last night? And I said, no, I didn't see it. And Philip and our camera guy didn't see it either. But that was interesting. So, hey, what time was that about? And he says, oh, it was about midnight. And we didn't catch it. We were up, but we didn't catch it. We didn't see it. So we thought that was pretty interesting. And apparently Michael did catch it on video. He did record it. So there's another piece of footage out there as well. Also, when we got to camp, and that night when we set up for our night watch, I set up, and the other parts of the crew went out and started doing wood. Ooh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Wood
sorry
knocks.
it's so loud there, but we now have Scotty on the line from the UFO I Team. Are you there, Scotty? Oh, hang on a second. Maybe I got to put him on the little. No, I guess we don't have Scotty in the line. I think what I'll do is try to get a hold of him in just a few minutes. But go ahead, Lee.
So we, they went north and went south to do wood knocks or Bigfoot calls, and I heard wood knocks behind me. There's nobody behind me where I'm at. And I'm hearing crunchity crunch crunch and in the trees, and that's starting to freak me out because now it's dark. I'm alone in this area that I've never been to before.
Yeah.
with these cameras, and I turn the camera around just to catch some eyes in the woods staring back at me, and I'm like, holy crap, what is that? And then I kind of see their shadow a little bit, and that's freaking me out. And then, so I see this, and I stomp forward. I stomp the ground really hard forward in front of me. It startled me, but they backed off, whatever it was. And I got my camera focused in, and I thought it was just two deer. But I would just assume that these two animals, these two deer, must have been chased out of the woods towards me by something else.
Very interesting. Yes. In other words, you caught not only some deer, potentially eye shine, but obviously they were running towards you rather than away. That's unusual.
Yes, absolutely. It frightened them, I think, as much as it frightened me. They were kind of caught between two places they didn't want to be. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be there either at that point in time. In fact, I had my hammock and everything set up on a game trail, and I quickly dismantled that and decided that I was going to sleep in my truck because I didn't want to be outside.
Oh,
I've
man.
never been on a Bigfoot, hunt or whatever they want to call them, and at that point, I decided I just needed to sleep in my truck.
Yeah. Oh, I'll bet. Wow. Well, listen, what we're going to do right now, Lee, is I'm going to try to bring on Kathy Brock into the conversation here. Bree Brockton, she's going to actually hopefully come on and be able to join us with some of the things that happened down at the East City Ranch as well. Hello, Bree, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm here.
Speak right into your mouthpiece there, and Lee Strauss is on the line as well. Can you hear each other?
Hi, Lee. Can you hear me?
I definitely can, Bree.
Yep, he's coming through loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what. At this point, we have just followed Lee Strauss and Philip Wade down the mountain after their night on top of Mount Adams, and then Lee was regaling us of what happened at the Bigfoot site where Michael Beers was doing his investigation. And now I thought it would be appropriate for us to start talking about what happened at the East City Ranch that you could give us some information about, Bree.
Oh, I'd be glad to. It was the second night that we were there, and it was shortly after dark. Well, actually, no, it had just turned dark, and maybe 9:30, and there were numerous airplanes going by, and just things that were pretty recognizable as being, your basic sky traffic. And then all of a sudden, above us, as I was standing next to Lee, who had his 3 cameras set up, there was a flashing light of a craft that was pretty high and moving at a medium pace, probably a little faster than an airplane and slower than a meteor. And it was flashing, and Lee started counting the flashes every 9 seconds. So he thought, well, okay, that's probably a satellite as it's flashing every 9 seconds. And it flashed 9 seconds 4 times, and then immediately it started flashing irregularly, and it almost looked like it was tumbling. And at that point, one of our UFO I Team members, Ray, was circling it with a blue laser so everyone could see where it was, and not pointing the laser directly at it, but circling it. So as it went across the sky, got to the far right portion of where we could still see it, all of a sudden, it just let out this blindingly bright blue neon laser. It came right out of the craft. And people next to me saw it, and the crowd went, wow, did you see that? And we all went, yes, I can't believe it. To me, it was as if it was responding back to the blue laser that was being circled by.
Oh, fascinating. So now, Lee, at the same time, you are filming all of this. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I had got we usually use a laser so that I can find the object in the sky. The laser's got a long beam, so I can usually then find the beam and then find its point where it's pointing to catch the object. And once I had it locked on, and I think I got about almost 4 minutes total of this craft going through the sky and doing these flashes.
Well, and Bree just kind of made a kind of like a description of what she saw. Can you also corroborate what you saw? Because obviously you're looking at this thing through the monitor of your Skywatch cams at the time, I'll bet.
Yeah, through my night vision. So what I saw, it started to come into view and started to flash, and then I'm counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it'll flash again. So then I count again. I'm just trying to find out whether or not it's, it could be a satellite or a tumbling piece of space junk. I kind of want to know. And so it flashed 4 times rhythmically, and then when the laser started hitting it, it started to pulse erratically, and then it let out a huge pulse. Hold on, I've never seen anything so bright. It really messed up my camera. It actually